Hey everybody, Kyle from Andrew Hilton here. Heaven knows we love sour things. Let's run the clip again.
We've done a little bit of prep already. So first thing, shaker.
Yeah, that's never ever gonna get old. So, back to the point. We are doing bitters, mild, and session ales, all low alcohol styles, big on flavor. Coming up this
Two Crows Fishing Show featuring Roy and Donnie.
So what setup do you have on? I got a full sinking line on, type 3 full sink line. I got about 4 or 5 feet of fluorocarbon leader. And then I got a micro shot about 1.5 feet up.
Oh, just to really get it down.
To get it right down, yeah.
And I'm the same. I've got a sink tip on, and I've got on top of my sink tip, right on the end of that, I've got even a real fast sinking leader, and then a small stretch of fluorocarbon with the fly. And I think the key is to get right on the bottom with these shad.
Yeah.
They sit on the bottom. You can bounce the fly across. You get a lot of hits because they take so easy. Oh, they just nibble at it.
You know what it's like? It's like when you grab your shirt and just pull your shirt a little bit. That's what the take's like. It's about that soft.
And you really have to set it right away.
So you got to be ready to pull the trigger. There. Oh.
Yeah, they're hitting it on the strip, right on the bottom.
Just as soon as you start to strip it.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. This is our 1-year anniversary, our 50th beer tasting. We have made it through all of 2020 and almost 4 months into 2021, and I think that's something worth celebrating. So we're jumping off with 6 beers, some of our greatest hits, not only of the tasting, but we have a bit of a blooper reel for you folks a little later on. And yeah, maybe this is gonna be a little less serious than some of the ones we have in the past. There's gonna be no maps. There's not gonna be some, deep digging into the philosophical meaning of New Zealand Pils versus its parents in Czech and American Pils. We're just going to enjoy it because it's an awesome New Zealand Pils. And that's actually where we're starting. We are going to start with one of my favorite beers from the last year. A beer I think we've only been able to get just this last year, the part-time model by Establishment. Now, you may notice I already have some in my glass, so just pretend you don't see that. We've done a little bit of celebrating our anniversary early, mostly because we were digging through all of the promos from last year as we decided which ones to start with. We were just going to start with the Two Crows one, and then we remembered Mike and his wonderful F-bomb as he knocks over the glass of, I think it was gin at the time. But yeah, it was
egg yolk.
Was it egg yolk at the time?
I spilled it in the back of my computer.
Oh, that's right. He chumped the egg yolk all down the back of you. That was great. Well, less so for you. And the bloody computer spilled like eggs for quite a while. Okay, so we are going to talk a little bit about the beers, of course. So we're going to jump off with the part-time model. For any of you who haven't had this has been on the show twice before. This is a New Zealand-style Pilsner. So it is a bottom-fermented, cold-fermented lager beer. Made with fresh New Zealand hops. Of course, the New Zealand hop harvest happens 6 months apart from the North American one. The North American hop harvest starts in early fall here, about September 15th, and lasts through the first week of October. The hop harvest in New Zealand happens kind of the tail end of February, first bit of March, which is when this beer comes out. So they get very fresh New Zealand hops. So we're getting those very pretty, very wine-like, fresh key lime, grapefruit, very delicate hopping on this to get that bright, fresh, pretty, just delightful hop aroma without any of the big bitterness of an American-style Pils or with any of that earthy, cheesy richness of like a Czech style. So why did I want to feature this one in particular? Because of how much I really learned to like lagers this year. These first 2 beers are really much of a muchness here, and I don't want to talk too much about the part-time model before we get to good authority. But one of the big things that I kind of came into this year, 12 months ago, with a giant bias was like, I liked IPAs. I really liked how much we sold for sours. I broadly liked stouts, but I was kind of past them. I mean, I think of the last kind of 2 dozen beers I took home before we started the beer tasting series, it was all IPA all the time. And, I appreciated Pilsners in the sense that, I thought they were technically good but never bought them. And I thought the golden ales and blonde ales and that sort of thing were just nonsense and boring. And I think the biggest thing I've learned over the last year is just how much these simpler, lighter styles of beer, when they're well made, because let's also take a moment here. We'll talk about that with a good authority, but there's a difference between a well-made, like very light beer and a lot of the pretender pseudo-craft out there, like Alexander Keith's. I don't want to lump Steam Whistle in there, but it does kind of come to mind, of beers that have a premium price point, premium packaging, premium marketing, and then you buy them and you're like, well, I could have made that in my back shed. No, I always feel disappointed with that. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get onto the good authority, because the part-time model, by the time this came out, I was already starting to get really into the lagers and the Pilsners. This was a beer that really took my breath away the first time I had it. According to establishment, we actually sold more of this damn beer than anyone else. They actually saved the last 10 flats of the first batch of part-time model from last year for us just because they knew we'd buy it because we were selling so much of it. This was an absolutely runaway hit for us. And I just wanted to open with this because I learned a lot about it. This is a beer that I don't think we would have done as well. I don't think establishment would be as, God, I hate saying the word established down here, but you know what I mean. I don't think that establishment would have the market presence down here. I don't think that we would have the ability to sell beers like this the way that we have without having had the last year. And no, nothing about Tail Gunner's process is simple. No, decoction brewing is not simple. So not Czech and not Italian. We actually had to look into this. I would have called this an American-style Pils or maybe even a German Pils using New Zealand malt. But according to the BJCP, the Beer Judge Certification Program, which classifies beers, New Zealand Pils is its own style. Did I say New England? I might have said New England. It is New Zealand. And yeah, I think a few people actually bought the beer tasting this week, although I shouldn't say that too much. We have 33 viewers right now. I think quite a few people saw just what an insane value the beer tasting was this week and were just like, I'll just take the tasting. I'm not going to watch. Screw that noise. This guy's boring. But I am going to buy 6 beers for $20, which, you know what? Fair enough. Now, I'm going to leave a couple of questions out to all of you. I did ask earlier about what your favorite moments were. I don't think anybody really nailed down time and date stamps and everything like that, but we did have, Craig actually gave us a pretty cohesive list. So Craig's going to get an honorary runner-up, so he's going to get a bottle of the establishment. But Aaron, you spent 15 and a half hours?
Oh, sure.
About that?
Put a number on it, yep.
It was about that? Yeah, it was probably more. It was probably a little more. He dug through to make our blooper reel for us. So yeah. Aaron is actually taking home 5 out of the 6.
Yeah, Daddy.
And yeah, I found that finding cool beer at the back of the fridge is like finding, $20 in the pocket of an old coat.
Those are mine. Well, 5 of them.
Who else would have enough time on his hands except for Craig? It's the most Aaron thing ever. Well, it's not the most Aaron thing ever. We'll get to the most Aaron things ever in just a little bit here. I do want to dig into some of the promos we got through. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them tonight, but I really enjoyed the... it was actually fun watching all the promos, now that we don't force you to watch them at the start of every broadcast. But we do that now. We didn't used to, though. And I was actually more guilty than anyone else of not watching the promos because I hate hearing myself talk. I'm getting better about that, though. Well, Craig, you definitely want a bottle of beer. If you come in, get whiny and that, you might actually be able to bump that to 3. We'll just see.
No timestamps,
no timestamps, that's policy, true. There was policy, but sure. He tried.
Oh yeah.
And since
and he comes
and he comes all the time, and
top fan.
Exactly, top fan. Does he have his top? He does finally have his top fan thing back, so he can stop complaining about not being a top fan anymore. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Good Authority and my relationship with it. We are on now to the second beer. This is the Annex Good Authority Golden Ale. And I realized we only spent 5 minutes on that first beer, but there's a reason. We are going to have the blooper reel in here. We are going to soak up an hour very quickly here. We got to fit it all into about an hour-ish. But good authority. When I first brought in Annex, I didn't try the good authority. I actually had completely ignored it. It was like, okay, well, what do I want from Annex? I want Forward Progress, I want Force Majeure, I want the Meats and Bounds Extra Pale Ale, I want whatever their seasonals are. But it was like, oh, that's the thing that they're gonna make for the brewery, so they have something to serve, you know, people who show up in Wranglers to drink Bud Light on the patio at Annex. I don't really need that in the store. So I just completely dismissed it out of hand. And yeah, exactly, this rules. This is actually bigger than the part-time model. And this is Annex is like, yes, please come in. We have something like Bud Light sort of beer. At least that's what I thought. Now, I did want to talk a little about pseudo-craft here. I gave a bit of a shot to Steam Whistle, which they may or may not deserve. But there's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of, hey, we're a craft brewery in inverted commas. We have these big ideas, and then they just come out with really, really pedestrian, boring beers. And I kind of worried that that's what Good Authority was going to be. It was either going to be a dumbed-down version of Annex, or it was going to just be forgettable. And so I completely dismissed it. And then we did an Annex tasting fairly early on. I think it was like week 7 or 8. We did an Annex event. And then weeks later, it was probably like tasting 34 or 35. We came back to Annex. And we actually included the Good Authority. And I had my freaking mind blown because of how much I actually liked this. And the big thing that I learned out of this was good breweries make good beer, and it doesn't matter if it's at the bottom of the range or the top of the range. You know what? I would say that if you showed up at an establishment and you said, well, I really just like, you know, Bud Light, they probably wouldn't give you part-time model. They'd probably give you My Best Friend's Girl, which is also a really nice beer. That's their Kolsch. But Annex, I gotta say, you know what? Full respect. Having something like Good Authority here that has this pretty delicate hopping, that has this big round mouthfeel, and again, it's only 4.9% alcohol. This isn't a big beer. This is lighter than a kokanee. But it's got so much more in the mouth.
What's on the front of it? Not the front of the can, the, like, mouth.
Ooh, sorry.
You know what I mean?
Like lemon zest, I'd say. Like fresh lemon.
Okay.
I was really hoping someone would point out my hypocrisy, considering the Honey Brown's coming up in just a little while, that yes, I immediately, in the promo, completely shat on Honey Brown, because I don't like the style. I don't think it's interesting.
I don't like Honey Brown either.
88, even 88, like they came out with their Warp Whistle, which was their like honey double IPA. No thanks. I don't like honey in beer as a rule. I think it adds a slickness and an overly sweet character and everything else. I'm hoping this will be different, mostly because the natural fermentation coming off the oak foeders. This was something that was occurring to me as well, Scotty, like kind of like a cream ale. Like I'm getting almost more body off this than I'd expect. Now we did talk to Annex when we actually tasted this. We had Rupert on, and he didn't mention anything about it being done as a cream ale or as a California Common. But I do kind of wonder if there's a little bit of a temperature change or a temperature play in terms of fermenting this to give this so much yeast character. And yeah, Craig calls it out too, like the yeast notes really, really right up front. And I think that has to be fermenting at different variable temperatures, just pushing the yeast a little harder than it wants to be pushed in order to make it do something interesting. And whoa, there's ramen, like instant ramen, and then there's real ramen, and those are very different things. Depends which version Chad's talking about. Or sorry, Jeremy's talking about, pardon me. Reminds you of Creemore. Okay. I've had Creemore Springs. They had again, call me out if I'm wrong, they had a Keller beer I remember quite favorably. I thought it was okay. And then they had like it was either a cream ale or like a lager. I don't remember. It was, I mean, Creemore is a big Ontario thing that's now owned by Molson's. It's kind of like Granville Island East. And I've had their beer a few times, but I honestly couldn't tell you what it tastes like off the top of my head, so I apologize. Oh yeah, and Jeremy's getting real ramen, so we're good. So who's finishing all 6 in the hour? Aaron is.
We are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, and we have many more promos coming, Craig, don't you worry. Many more promos coming. Actually, I think you're all going to really like the blooper reel, which is coming up in about 2 minutes here. Yeah, I watched it a little earlier. Aaron put in some absolutely incredible work putting this together, so I think you're all really going to like that.
Yeah, it was pretty hacked together, but I mean, you know, whatever. They're all, like, there was no, I didn't do any, like, editing or, like, you know, post bits, aside from just, like, you know, hacking it up a little bit to make it, like, fit into friggin' 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah, and we wanted it to be 10 minutes and no
You know,
longer.
and all the things takes up, like, 6 of the 10 minutes. You know,
It doesn't take that long. It takes like 3.5.
It's a monster, though.
Ooh, who said buttery? Eric did. Maybe a little tiny bit, because normally when I hear buttery, I think diacetyl addition. Oh yeah, sour on the west side for ramen? Heck yes.
Yep. Agreed.
Honestly, between them and cocoa, I think we're rather spoiled for ramen in this city.
Yeah, as far as you can throw Lethbridge.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think that we do ramen all right. It's not from like places a lot of people know, but I mean, they're two little tiny places that just do spectacularly good ramen. See, and I don't remember yesteryear, back when Creemore was still like a local little place. It got introduced to me. I think this was when Molson was rolling out like a new brand. It was not 6 Pints. I think that's Labatt's new luxury line. The Lexus of Labatt's, which is a terrible idea. They have Bandit Peak, and honestly, who cares?
This is Creemore.
This is Creemore from Molson's. This was like their premium line from Molson, and it kind of went nowhere because they also had Granville Island, and they pulled Granville Island out of Alberta for 3 years and kind of killed the market for it. So yeah, I don't know, bit of a shame. I've not been to Bon Sushi, so. Nigel comes Bon Sushi, pretty good. All right, before we go completely down the rabbit hole of comparing ramen places, let's run the blooper reel.
Yeah, you wanna?
I wanna.
Oh, Jesus. Excuse me.
Wow, that was early.
Yeah, brought that up quick.
All right, everyone, this is it. This is our last year of not just beer tastings, but wine spirit tastings as well. Thank you, Aaron, for putting all this together. This was
welcome.
a massive amount of work, but I think you absolutely nailed it.
It was a pleasure. I laughed into the night.
I'm glad. I did have a question in the comments. Thank you, Melissa. What's the meaning? Marissa, I am really sorry. Apparently I need a stronger prescription. I am, okay, that's actually very funny. And, Blindman, I don't remember what the last one is. You may have broke me. It's been a lot of beer. And
requirements are that's not good Spanish wine. It's like, but this is the type of
survives being put in a beer with strawberries. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our beer tasting. And yes, indeed, Eric, it has been a week. So let's talk a little bit about that. And for that, we're going to go to our maps. It's what my mum got my dad the year before I was born in 1981, which is just the absolute nicest thing. So now I'm never ever going to get rid of this version of the World Atlas of Wine. Well, the tablet's broken, so I can't see the new comment, so that's fun. The quality and the interest of questions that they got. I guess I don't need the stupid earpiece anymore. Our guests are gone. Sorry about that, everybody. Had a little bit of a video hiccup with uploading to Facebook. Our first completely spectacular failure, so that's good. In fact, I'm just going to blame the tablet, even though it wasn't even on. A Sylvaner, which is a grape variety we will probably never taste on the channel because it's boring, and if you age it to make it more interesting, it just tastes like ketchup. All right. Well, we'll call it at 45 minutes. You folks get out there, enjoy your Canada Day, grill something, set off some illegal fireworks. If the AGLC is watching, I did not say set off illegal fireworks, I said steamed hams. It's my palate. I just spent $1,000 on whiskey. Oops. Yeah, this has been fun. I've drank a lot of beer tonight. Ignore the fact that I also opened this barley wine. When I first sat down at 88, they had no idea who I was, and some guy from Lethbridge walking in and just taking a seat at the bar and skipping the line because I was a jerk. You feel like there was more line last time? Yes, Kevin, you're clearly watching with the sound off because I spent like 2 minutes talking about that. Yes, I don't get anywhere near as much line. Sorry, I'm being sassy. And Kevin never came back. Quiet Nicole, Celine Dion is great. And no, I'm not backing that up with a dang thing. Tell us about the part of the world this comes from.
Sorry. Just getting a phone call from Ross's wife, who's my partner in the winery. We'll deal with it later.
Okay. John asks, does the island of Crete make wine?
Yes,
Is it any good?
I haven't had any.
Fair enough. Moving on.
If you can see that. So he's very, very proud of his dirt. He made me smell his dirt all day, everywhere we went. He would say, "Smell my dirt."
So this is the back. This is the back of the brewery. There's our mash tun and kettle. So in the corner there, we've got our hot liquor tank and our cold liquor tank. Basically what we start our batches with. This is where all our fermenters are. This is kind of what we got it set up as, and we built the place as it's nice having people come in and learn about beer. Like it's really nice to be able to share that. Oh, there's sunshine.
And that would be the end of his battery life right there. And then all of the different whiskeys. They had something like 70 different whiskeys on their website. I was absolutely stunned. I mean, here we used to get the, you'll have to bear with us a little bit. You notice we're starting about 3 minutes late. We've had a little bit of trouble with the simulcaster.
Yeah. So it's just like basically a warehouse space. You're cutting out a little bit, so
we've been a little bit of a victim of our own success. Now we are experiencing some mild technical difficulties in the sense that it's extreme technical difficulties, but that's all right. Now I do apologize for the fact that we are having a little bit of difficulty with our guests, but you know. Okay, and I can hear Mauro. I do apologize for this, Mauro.
My lab is a science lab. It never ends. I just love what I do.
Can you give us a panorama of what you're seeing from your deck?
Oh, can you guys see me?
Everybody can see you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, surprise. I'm glad you didn't pick your nose or anything. So
You gotta meet Dave, my dog Dave. He's the best.
I definitely need to meet Dave the dog. Yes, that's not even a question.
The lower the temperatures on the winter, the better for the vines.
Why? But what makes a cold winter better for vines?
The vines need to accumulate cold.
Full credit, by the way, to Aaron, who keeps this whole project from going hopelessly off the rails by the power of his whiteboard and his being good at technology. He actually keeps all of this running. And 3 comments down, Devin actually gives a better answer than I did, so that's good. Devin, of course, is the other sommelier here at the store. He's like me, but smarter and better looking. I love the laugh I got from everyone else, which tells you it's absolutely true. Well, why don't you introduce the beer and why don't you introduce the style? I'm actually going to step away for a second just to use the restroom here.
Did somebody say turn on the mic? Can I not be heard?
No, that's my mic, Adam. They definitely didn't want to hear me pee.
Oh!
This style, the East Coast style. Aaron's giggling like he got away with something here. Also, you left the front door open.
I did.
The door is very much supposed to be locked. So someone, probably Aaron, left the front door unlocked despite us being closed. It was Aaron. I have to go run the cash register.
All right, I'm gonna change the camera here, folks. There we go. Excellent. Hello. Now we're making movies. I don't even remember what Kyle was talking about. East Coast IPA, huh? Yeah. Well, I don't actually know shit about beer. I like beer because I think that the elements that go into like creating something, it's chemistry, it's all these things, exquisite. I haven't even tasted this yet. I'm just kind of like laying out a bit of a resume, which is literally nothing aside from like drinking. Anyway, I was on radio for a little while. That's before I ran things like this. So I do have a gift of being able to bring literally zero content to the table and make it sound like I've been talking for at least 5 minutes straight. Here's Kyle with the weather.
I'm not sure exactly what that was the best one, you dick.
No. I can hear everything.
Check. Good. You think we're good? Yeah. I think we may be completely buggered. Can anybody hear me now? Okay, Kevin heard me. Can you hear Max? Aaron's not getting paid for tonight. Welcome, everybody. Oh, hello. You'd like the first one, I imagine. Absolutely. Hello, Han. Nice to have you back.
How to write wine.
There will never be a good one of those. The suggestions were China and how to write wines, which are, the good ones aren't here yet, and there's never been a good one. And yes, hashtag mouthfeel. God, I hate that word so much.
Mouthfeel sound effect.
Oh, we are not having a mouthfeel sound effect. Please, no. One of them was the Cave Creek chili beer. It was just the most wretched liquid I've ever ingested. It has a reputation as being perhaps the worst beer on earth. And I don't think they're very far off. It's really something troubling. Hello everybody, and welcome to Adventures in Computing with Aaron Trozo, and also we might drink some beers. Not as much fun as the padding was, and you know what, that's fair. West Coast, East Coast IPAs. I think, what did you do, Aaron?
Nothing, man.
I'm sure you didn't.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't. It's been a 3 beer and 15 minute kind of day. It's either 1995 or 2095. It's one or the other. I can't really leave because I'm on camera.
You could.
I could?
Unplugged.
No. This is the Matterhorn we have. But hey, for $5 more, you get a J-Lord cab that tastes like a horse shat in your mouth. Hilarious now because start with the idea of talk about. But really, when we go back to session, the idea of a local has like really all the way forward. But really, when we go back to session now, in terms of session now, actually refers to the fact that when we talk about low alcohol styles, session styles, there would be a lot of like general. I am on my laptop tablet around, but I will still be able to get to that. So we are going to start today with the Blindman Super Session, and who could forget this bastard? Oh, good lord. Yeah, that's loud. So we are going to move on to the all the things. Yeah, that is all the things, isn't it? Oh god, in the mouth. Yeah, maraschinos for days. Banana bread and vanilla, Black Forest cake, ice cream shop with a power out. So it smells like all the nice ingredients in an ice cream shop rotting. The award does go to Eric for comment of the night. Yeah, you're not topping that. It burns. I kind of regret having this much in my class. Yeah, I think it's a novelty. It smells like rising bread. Jeremy, you're baking bread wrong. Yeah, it's also like the cherry tri-minute cough syrup. Is it a dessert beer? If you really hate dessert. No, these are singles. Because who would ever want 4? Suddenly the art makes a lot more sense. Wow. Yeah, it screams really bad hangover. Like if you drank yourself into a hangover with these, you'd die. I don't want to live anymore. I hate this. Actually, let's just use up our second YouTube F-bomb. I fucking hate this. This point, just as my nose is just inside the glass, that's where the tri-minute cough syrupy thing is the worst. That's the part that I really dislike. All right, just in case you're not reading the comments, I will read Eric's. I used to work in a fun center, and by the end of the day, the garbage can would have discarded Pepsi, half-eaten hot dogs, and 3 different birthday cake carcasses. And that's all I can think of right now. We called it Moonwalker Slurry. It's very John Hammond sort of beer. What happened here? Velociraptors happened here. But you know what? That was fun. That was a ride. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Media boutique.
Oh,
there you go.
There we go. Hey, now we got one for next year's blooper reel. There we go. You know, not actually intentional, but hey, worked out.
They never are.
They never are. But yeah, that was incredible, Aaron. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right, so speaking of things that I suspect I will dislike, let's move on to Blindman Foedered Honey Brown Lager. Now, I shouldn't. Okay. I mean, you know what, screw it, this is our anniversary show, I'm just gonna speak my feelings. I really hate honey brown lagers. I hate honey brown ales. I hate honey brown just about everything. I've hated basically every honeyed beer I've ever had. But, one, I do trust Blindman to do a good job of brewing a beer. And two, I think Foeders could actually be the best way to do this, because one of the things I don't like about honey is how much it gives it this oily slickness and this pervasive honey character that's all through it that just takes over everything else. It dominates any hops, it takes over the malt bill. It's just the honey show, you know, guest starring beer. It's okay. I'm hoping that by adding wild yeast, by fermenting it in an open-topped wooden fermenter, adding the wood notes, adding the, and again, there won't be very many because foeders are deliberately neutral, but adding that wild yeast character, there's going to be enough other things going on that the honey doesn't just run the show. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, and we're right back on the blooper reel. Yep, well done. We're starting 2021 off with a bang.
Write it in the book.
Write it in the book. Yes, I should actually note that because this was such hell to go through, we actually bought a book to write all our bloopers down with. So this will be going in the book. Didn't we have a good one in one of the tastings? Did we have something exceptional on honey beer? No, again, it's been 50 tastings. Did we have an exceptional honey beer?
No.
I think we did Warp Whistle and it was okay by 88, but I'm trying to think of another honey beer that we had that really like ran the table for me. Unless I'm wrong, but okay, let's see what this is about. Okay, no, there is definitely some honey to that, but it's more in the background. This is more savory than it is anything else. I mean, yeah, there's sweet, there's a bit of wood, there's a bit of caramel to this, but I'm also getting some like interesting meaty, savory things that I assume are coming from the wild yeast or maybe from the wood. Or admittedly, maybe from the honey. I might just be wrong and stuck in my ways. That's entirely possible. Ooh, you know, okay, yes, it's identifiably a honey brown. Would I buy a 4-pack for myself? Probably not. But in a style I don't like, full respect, that's actually quite interesting. I also will say I think I like this better than the Foedered Vienna last year, which I thought was actually really nice. I think oak and honey, two ingredients, like if you ever heard my Innocent Gun rant, oak and honey together sounds like two things I wouldn't like. Here, they're kind of two bad tastes that taste great together. It actually kind of works.
Get out of phase with one another or something.
Eric asked an interesting question. I was actually thinking about this about the time he asked it. Is the spiciness in the wood? I don't know. I would suspect, okay, how about this? There are 3 places the spiciness could come from. It could come from them using like really traditional English hops like East Kent Goldings or Fuggles. Those can come off really spicy in kind of like a cedar box sort of way. That could be what's giving this spice. That's probably my best theory. The second theory I'd have is it's actually coming from the honey, in the sense that a lot of wildflower honeys, when you ferment them, can give like a very light, like almost super delicate, fruity habanero character. I've seen that come from honey, not so much in beer, but I've seen it come out more so in meads. I'm particularly thinking of like Kunen's mead from Michigan. That can have a real like delicate hot pepper characteristic that's purely coming from the honey. But that requires some really good honey. Now these guys did use some really high-end honey from Gull Lake, but still, I can't say for sure. The oak would be the third option, of course. Oak barrels do have a certain spicy character to them. That certainly could be contributing as well. It could also be a combination of the 3. My best guess would be like spicy English hops. Do they talk about the hopping on this? I don't think they do. Beautiful hydrated wire foeders. No, they don't, unfortunately. But my guess would be like spicy English hops. Ooh, I could see chicory, yeah. Molasses too. Scotty, I'll be honest, I'm looking for black licorice here and I'm not finding it, but it could also be glass shape, which makes a huge difference. I will say, Scotty, absolutely nailed on the molasses. I didn't pick it up until you said it, but that little touch of a smoky note combined with that caramel and sweetness, that's spot on for molasses. That's a great tasting note. And yeah, burnt sugar caramel at the end for brulee. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And John, I'm not overpowered by the honey either. I think it actually adds a... You're dragging this out of me, folks. It adds a nice component to the beer. As far as I'm going about saying nice things about honey. The beer itself is very solid, and as I drink it, and as... Actually, you poke me with, like, good tasting notes. I'm coming around to it more than I thought. I still don't love honey beer, but I will say, bravo, Blindman. You made a very nice, likable version that admittedly I still probably wouldn't buy of a style that I traditionally don't like. So, you know what? That's pretty darn commendable. What do you think, Aaron?
Hall pass.
Hall pass?
Absolutely. Man, I'm not offended by it at all, in fact. I think it's kind of interesting the way it develops and it kind of vanishes all at once, and it's light, it's nice, and I get the honey. I don't know much about what this Foedered business is like, you know, really contributing, but spiciness, definitely get that. Could be the wood, maybe, eh?
Yep.
What does that mean? Like, what
Foeders
what
are,
kind of wood is this?
yeah, so Foeders are, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but I guess I shouldn't have glossed over it quite so quickly. Foeders are giant oak open-top fermentation vessels and aging vessels. They don't necessarily have to be open-top, they usually are. By aging beer in a Foeder, A, by leaving the top open, you can introduce wild yeasts, and B, by maturing it, usually in a closed-top Foeder, you basically introduce micro-oxygenation by a little bit of air being able to get through the wood to add some oxygen to the beer and soften it to change the character, to give it a little bit more of kind of an oxidized aged character that will produce more of a whiskey-like component, if you like. It's a very old way, an old Belgian way of aging beer. Really, Blindman crowdfunded their Foeders 4 or 5 years ago, and they've done a lot of stuff out of the Foeders in their 375 like glass bottle series. They've done 2 beers out of their Foeders. They did a Vienna Lager last year, and now the Honey Brown in cans. So they're certainly getting their money's worth out of the Foeders, but there's just a really specific type of fermentation and aging vessel. Have I used up all my disclaimers for the night? Oh no, we're only on beer 3. No, we're definitely going to disclaimer the hell out of all this. Actually, I really don't have any strong opinions about any of these styles, so I may have disclaimered myself out early. But it's me, so I wouldn't count on it. Julie asks, she may have missed this, but are Honey Browns usually ales? Sleeman's Honey Brown is an ale. But I will say that the last few years, even Honey Browns that used to be ales, I'm specifically thinking of Big Rocks here, have become lagers. I can't remember the last time I saw like a Honey Brown ale come across the market, like a brand new one. Most of the ones that have come out have been lagers, and I don't know the brewing reason why for that. If I was to hazard a guess, I would say that the slower, colder, more gradual fermentation that is endemic to making lagers probably allows some of the subtlety of using a high quality honey to translate through better. If you've ever seen like an ale fermentation going on, it's violent. It looks like a blender on high speed with the amount of froth and foam and everything that's being thrown up, and they're bubbling out just gallons of CO2 as they ferment. I feel like the delicate honey notes for those processes don't survive very well. My guess is that in an effort to get those delicate honey notes to translate more, I think we're seeing a swing towards Honey Brown lagers, but that is a little bit of a guess. Chat, there could be some rye malt to this. Well, they don't talk about it, but you know what? You're not wrong. Also, this is a bit of a jump at 6.6. This actually might be the highest alcohol thing on the table. Nope, just loses out to the Sunshine Rain. But yeah, this is a big beer at 6.5. Sean, I love that you're using reminds me of a Honey Brown as like a watchword for this sucks. That's I'm glad we're friends, Sean. This is great. All right. Moving right along, let us jump into one of our new beers. This is, along with the Blindman, one of the 2 new beers we're talking about tonight. This is 88's Hammer Pants. Now, I love this beer. Let me be very clear. I do. A little bit sad. This is replacing 88's Hologram Wheat as a full-time beer for them. And I really liked Hologram. Nobody bought Hologram, but I thought it was a really nice, like, lightly hopped, fresh, citrusy wheat ale. And apparently there's just no room in this world anymore for a nice, citrusy, hopped wheat ale. Oh no. Anyway, wheat ale kind of had its time. I actually like this better, and especially because it's a West Coast pale ale. I do enjoy wheat ales. I enjoy the history of them. I do occasionally still drink them, but this is very much more what's happening now. I love that it's a West Coast. I just love the beer. I love this fresh, snappy character. I love that it's crystal clear again. And yes, thank you, Heather. It is indeed hammer time. Oh, thank you, West Coast style. There's the grapefruit. There's a little bit of pine. There's that nice upfront, immediate bitterness that doesn't, you know, try to hide itself with sugar or a whole bunch of protein or just upfront juicy character. It just rolls in with bitterness and it's unashamed of it. And it's just wonderfully West Coast like that. I really dig this. I'll also say, coming out of the new West Coast second wave, we're seeing a real push towards like dank IPAs as a style, ones that really push that like strong cannabis sort of aroma. Bent Stick has a new dank IPA called Art Teacher's Office, which is a fantastic name for a beer, and SYC has their Dankaroo. But we're really seeing that this push towards West Coast beers that really push this strong, strong cannabis aroma. I'm getting a little of that here, but I'm also getting a lot of fruit as well. A lot of grapefruit here. Is this low percentage for West Coast IPA? Yes, this is definitely low percentage. And it doesn't call itself an IPA. It calls itself a West Coast Pale Ale. I was actually talking to these guys yesterday as I was loading up the car with extra hammer pants because we desperately need more hammer pants to be able to support this tasting because we ran completely out late Monday afternoon and couldn't actually make any kits for most of yesterday. They hadn't made a session ale as something that was like a regular listing in their portfolio before. The closest that they had was Night Gallery, but the rest of their lineup was things like Wave Pool, which is high alcohol, Ring Pop, which is well over 6, Tiffany, Good Morning Vietnam. Duotang's a little lower, but it's a sour, it's supposed to be. They'd never really done like a session ale like this as a regular listing before. I guess you go way, way back, they had Cassette, which was like a Belgian table beer that even after like 4-pack cans took off, they kept selling like 6-pack long neck bottles. We never bothered bringing it in. It never really sold well even for them. Neat beer. This is better. Yeah, I find the low alcohol category. We talked about this a little bit with the latest Snake Lake tasting we did, like Drink Easy. Growing category, you need to do it. I think they're doing it very well. And yeah, you can ask Devin about Vancouver basement rentals. I've seen pictures of the place he rented. It looks like hell. And Grant, you know, you're a nice guy, but really affirming your dislike of West Coast beers and hops, well, can we take away that top fan rating? Is that possible?
I can't.
No, I can't either. Well,
Yeah.
we should try. And yeah, we all have those memories. And yeah, Cassette was a neat idea. I mean the beer, not like actual cassettes. The Cassette was a neat idea of like this super sessional Belgian table beer that would be low alcohol, be really light and easy to drink. And that was what I liked when I was a home brewer. That's, I think, what a lot of home brewers settle on is like a slightly Belgian-y, yeasty, everyday sort of Belgian table beer that's just for them. And it just doesn't translate with a lot of breweries, which is a shame. So, I don't know. Cool idea. I'm glad that this is out, though. I like this. Ooh, cucumber's a great call, Scouty. I didn't pick that up till right now. But yeah, cucumber is spot on. Scotty just coming in with the tasting notes tonight, like all night. All right, Aaron, you're through the first four. What do you got a favorite yet?
What? Beer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Probably Hammer Pants.
Probably Hammer Pants? I'm actually going to go Good Authority so far. Like, I love this, but that Good Authority, like, just maybe it's me, maybe it's the warm night.
Yeah.
I really like that Good Authority. That was actually really good.
Yeah, this has a nice cheesiness to it. I think it's...
Yeah, it's unapologetically hoppy, and it has a little of that hoppy cheese right at the back, which I like. Yeah. Ooh, that's an interesting question. He doesn't like cilantro. So it's an interesting common link between that and the West Coast hops. I don't know. My wife can't taste cilantro either, so, and she doesn't drink beer, so I can't really say whether it's a commonality in my experience, but... And Eric's still all about the part-time model, and rightly so. Amanda has chili cooking in a crock-pot. Okay, I can see green peppers, maybe hot peppers, but I'm not getting like beans or beef or anything. I got more savory notes, honestly, out of the honey brown. Can you see chili?
I get legume off of that for sure. It's like more when you like open. It's like when you open a can of like beans and like all the. You know,
and like the weird like slimy juice.
Yeah, the slimy juice, and you open it up and it's just this really like warm, weird smell. I totally get it. It's a bit farty.
You know, I kind of get that now. Yeah, I kind of see that.
Yeah.
You expected more on this one. Yeah, fair enough.
Story of my life.
All right, so we're going to run one of our favorite promos here in a minute, but we're going to do Shameless Promotion Corner first. We're going to talk about, actually, let's talk about the wine tasting coming up this Friday night. We are going to talk about Sauvignon Blanc. So an all-white tasting. I really assumed it was going to be warmer outside than it actually has been this week. But I really like Sauvignon Blanc. It's a fun grape. It was one that I meant to get to kind of tail end of last summer and then just didn't. So traditionally we think about Sauvignon Blanc coming from New Zealand mostly, or if you're somewhat in the know, you know it's an original French grape. But Italy does a great job. Australia does some interesting stuff. America does terrible ones. Sauvignon Blanc can be so much more than just New Zealand. I wanted to talk about a variety of different styles, a variety of different interpretations of it. So, like New Zealand actually has a specific yeast strain to make the New Zealand Sauv Blanc taste more like New Zealand Sauv Blanc. So I want to talk about that, dispel some of the mysteries, and just dig into the grape beyond some of the, this is just what New Zealand Sauv Blanc is about. I'm very excited to talk about just different things with it, because it's a great variety that's very easy to pigeonhole, and I'm guilty of this myself. It's just been like, oh yeah, Sauv Blanc, it tastes like green peppers and grapefruit. It's usually about 12% alcohol, and that's what it is. There's a lot more going on here, and in particular, I'm really excited to present the Voyager Estate, which is like a Western Australian, totally natural, wild and crazy Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc blend. There's a lot to dig into here. It's maybe not the sexiest grape variety in the world just because it tends to be a little one note, but under the surface there's actually a lot to get into, so I'm excited for that. Beer tasting next week, 1 week from tonight, is our Pink Boots tasting, which is something we've actually had the beer set aside for about 2 weeks. Now, as part of International Women's Day, there is the Pink Boots Brew movement, which is designed to get more women involved in the brewing industry, which at a lot of breweries involves having all of the women of the brewery, whether they actually work in the brew house or not usually, jump on board and get involved in the brewing process hands-on. And 4 Alberta breweries actually, well, way more than 4 Alberta breweries, but these are the 4 I could actually get. Do get involved. So, a little bit late, like a month and change late for International Women's Day, but then the beers were brewed on that day, so they do take a bit of time to make. From establishment, we have Avant Gardener, which is a smoked sour with rose hips. We have very recently returning but still awesome Full Circle Rogan beer from Blindman. From Annex, we have the non-compliant Blood Orange and Cranberry Sour. And from Snake Lake, we have the Mrs. Dingwall's Red Sangria Goza. So 4 very different beers, 3 of them sours, but I'm kind of excited for this one. There's actually a lot to dig into here because I've had all of these, actually except the Avant Gardener. I know me, I haven't had the establishment, but they were really, really neat brews, so that'll be fun to dig into 1 week from tonight. Now, and I believe you have a promo to run for us, one of our favorites here. I believe you did.
All right. I guess this is the
probably
series or something.
Yeah, run us something fun in the animated style.
Mortal Kombat or Kim Mitchell?
Let's do Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's great.
All right. Audio's out.
Hey again, everybody. Kyle from Andrew Hilton here to tell you about our upcoming beer tasting for this Wednesday, June the 17th. We are doing a Battle of BC, IPA versus Sour, Phillips versus Four Winds. From Phillips, we got 2 brand new ones to the store. We got the Phillips Dino Sour, Blackberry Sour, and then the Pandemonium Super IPA. Love the packaging on these. They're really out there, and Phillips makes really, really neat beer. And then we'll go the exact opposite direction. No cute marketing, no cheap tricks here. These are just really spectacular wild IPA, so wild ferment with really, really fresh hops, and then we get the Nectarous dry hop sour. So we've got all the fun versus some really, really serious stuff. So Battle of BC, this coming Wednesday, June the 17th at 6 p.m. I hope to see you. Hey everyone, Kyle with Andrew Hilton, here to tell you about our upcoming beer tasting, or should I say lager tasting, for this Wednesday, December the 2nd. We made it, folks. We're in the last month of 2020, and we are going to do some really neat beers. Now, the first beer here, we've talked about it. We've talked about it actually quite a lot. The Tail Gunner Czech Pills, the decoction mashed pills made in Calgary. Just, oh, what a beer. I can't believe we haven't done this yet, but we're going to do that. Along with the flavor of the week, which, according to Annex and Snake Lake, is Vienna lagers. These are a copper to amber colored lager, very soft, very rich, very, very spicy. I absolutely love Vienna lagers, and we never ever see them because they take forever to brew. And then we're going to top that off with just a classic. It's the Establishment Mellow Gold. It's their Hellas. It's a beer that I think we've had on the channel once or maybe twice before. It's a beer I absolutely love. I couldn't do this without doing that one. I also didn't have another lager I wanted to do more, so we're going to do that. All of that and more coming up this Wednesday, December the 2nd at 6 p.m. I hope to see you out.
Media.
All right, and we're back. So we're going to wrap this up. We've done a little bit of lessons we've learned. We've done a couple of new things, and we've talked about a style that I really like in West Coast Pale that maybe didn't live up to everyone's expectations. And we've done a honey brown that I think certainly exceeded mine. So let's get into the airing of grievances. And I've got a lot of problems with you people. Specifically about beers that I absolutely loved that didn't sell this last year. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but actually I'm going to walk that back. It's entirely because there's something wrong with all of you. These are beers that I adored. These are beers that I thought should be absolute all-stars for us, and for whatever reason just didn't sell. And I want to talk a little about why. And I want to talk a little about why, and hear from you in terms of why you may or may not have liked these and thought that they were interesting or worth drinking. So we're going to start out with Tainted Love here by Establishment Brewing. It's a rhubarb sour with ginger and cinnamon. I thought this tasted like Christmas time. Unfortunately, it came out like the first week of February, second week of February. I thought this was great. I thought it was bright. It tasted like apple cherry cobbler or apricot cobbler. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a wonderful like late winter sort of drink that had just enough ginger and cinnamon to kind of warm you up while you were also kind of getting into sours again for spring. I don't know. I think it's fantastic. We bought a keg, we put it on the growler station. I thought this was going to be like one of our smash hits of the year, and I bought a ton of it. and then no one cared. And I was really sad about that because I thought the beer was just absolutely spectacular. Don't challenge Deirdre at the feats of strength. No, I will challenge Deirdre at the feats of cardio. And ooh. Yeah, I still like this. Now, this has been on the shelf for a little while. Some of the immediate, like, cinnamon spiciness has died back a little bit. And now I've got just this rich apple crumble thing going on in the mouth. It's not that sour. And I'm mystified. I mean, for those of you who love this, by all means, comment, tell me you love it. But for those of you who didn't like this or didn't buy this or avoided it and are only now getting around to it, please, I really want to know, why didn't you buy this? What turned you off? What turned you away when you looked at this and said, oh, you know, rhubarb sour with ginger and cinnamon? What turned you away and said, oh, I don't want this? Why didn't this work for me? Because I'm really curious. Sorry, just reading the comments. I realize it doesn't make for good viewing, but I do want to just check in. Okay, Becky, not your jam. Might use it to make jam. Totally fair. All right. Rhubarb crumble, great on tap. Oh, wow, that's a really specific toasty note coming in from Chris. It reminds me of the red desserts that came in the middle of a Hungry Man dinner. I've never actually had a Hungry Man dinner. Have you, Aaron?
I don't think so.
No, I haven't either, because it seems like it's just like bad powdered mashed potatoes, anonymous vegetable, and like mystery meatloaf. I've never bought one, but apparently this tastes like the red dessert filling.
I think if they would...
And then Chris immediately follows up by saying he loved the dessert in the middle of his Hungry Man dinner. All right, cool. Go ahead, Aaron.
I think if they mentioned less shit on the label, it'd be more tempting to buy. I think I probably looked at it and was like, rhubarb sour with ginger and cinnamon. What the hell?
Maybe if they just called it like a winter dessert crumble?
Something. I don't know. It's just like too much. It's like a mouthful already on the label or something like that. It's like, I don't know.
You know, that's not a bad point. You're right, because...
Too many details.
You know, that's actually an excellent point. I think you're absolutely right. I think if they just called it like winter crumble sour or Christmas crumble sour or something, it might have done better.
Because it's good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I mean, there's obviously some people who aren't grooving on it, but...
Sure.
And Jacob, I think you're right. I love, and again, I've talked about this at length, I find like, you know, wine and beer and spirits packaging to a point a little bit more than silly. It's absolutely ludicrous sometimes. I really like establishments kind of anti-advertising packaging, just like Averill Creek's, just like Lock and Worth's. I like labels that just say, hey, here's the name of the winery or the brewery. Here's the name of the wine or the beer. Black letters, white label, or white letters, black label. This is just what it is. We don't need anything more than that. We don't need to, you know, put this highly rendered picture of a goat on the label. It doesn't need any of that. It's just very honest. I appreciate that, but I realize that it sometimes can bite these products in the ass.
It sure does stick around in your mouth a while, eh?
Yeah, I'm noticing that too, because it's been a while since my last sip. It does tend to linger. Oh, and Amanda's having a bit of a moment with this. Like, she's actually coming around to the, I really thought I'd hate this and really liked it. And that's kind of how I felt about the Blindman here. So, yeah, we're kind of having a bit of a similar thing. But yeah, it's a lingering thing. And Jeremy says it here where it sees he leaves it a film on his teeth. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's...
That's the, like, sour element because sour candies do that.
Yeah, it does.
For me, yeah. It, like...
It's the acidity.
Infiltrates your plaque or something like that, and you can...
Well, it's no different than like highly tannic wines that will leave you with like little fuzzy socks on the outside of your teeth. I think it's an acidity thing. Despite the taint connotation, he likes it. We're not even, I'm not going to go there. We're not going to talk to that. We're going to just scroll on. Deanne says she likes Jamrock and El Segundo more from Establishment. Well, Deanne, I have terrible, terrible dark news about what I picked up from Establishment yesterday. It might be a Lichtenheiner with pineapple that just got here and got on the shelves this morning. So, if you liked Left My Wallet and El Segundo, yeah, we have some again. It's back. So that's really good news. Rhubarb is spring, you weirdos. That is totally fair. Huh. Actually, that's kind of interesting. Julie's coming that she's not drinking it right now, but was turned up by the cinnamon. Oh. Okay, that's a very interesting. Do I get the cinnamon on this? Do you get the cinnamon on this?
I thought I did.
I thought I did too, but honestly, I think it could be more the ginger.
Yeah, definitely ginger.
If there's cinnamon, it's way in the background. I think I get it more in the finish than anywhere else. It's like a suggestion of cinnamon after I swallow. But I don't get it like in the nose at all, and I get it kind of a little in the mid-mouth. It's more of a cinnamon finish.
Yeah, it's like when when the family's not looking and you take a gob of like raw pancake batter or something like that with the eggs in it and all that stuff. It's like there's cinnamon in it, and because you're tasting, I don't know, you think you're tasting it or something like that.
You think it's a power of suggestion thing?
I think it's there somewhere. I'm not sure, can't peg it down, but.
And I think that's a really interesting point, because a lot of the times it's like, this is a IPA with passion fruit. Well, a lot of hops taste like passion fruit as it is. And I'm not calling out Love Shack, because Love Shack, I probably could taste the passion fruit if they didn't tell me. But yeah, I think some of it is very power of suggestion. If you're just making an IPA with a ton of passion fruit in it, you could probably just label it as an IPA and let people figure out there's passion fruit in it on their own. But if you're not 100% convinced that people are going to taste the passion fruit, if you put it on the can, everyone's going to know it's there, and then they'll start tasting it. But yeah, I think this might be one of those things where I don't know if I'd known there was cinnamon in it unless I was told. And yeah, I also remember this being more cinnamony, Eric. Thank you. Actually, Heather, that's an interesting point. You were saying that it's not over-the-top sour. Some of them are over-the-top sour, like Sourpuss sour. Remind me, I actually got to try Sourpuss for the first time since I was like 19, not too long ago. Sourpuss is terrible. Like, it's absolutely terrible. I knew it was bad. Like, I knew it was like really low-rent liqueur that was like for, newly 18-year-olds and such. Sourpuss is awful. It's so sweet. It tastes like Jolly Ranchers. It's dreadful stuff. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to jump into Sunshine Rain. This one I think is interesting, not just because my can is really dented and wobbly. This is kind of the IPA from Cabin's lineup, along with Super Saturation, Retro Spectrum, and whatever their current seasonal IPA or 2 is out at the moment. For right now, it is Starburst Triple IPA and the brand new Troposphere West Coast IPA. They always have at least 2. This is kind of the one that doesn't sell as quickly as the others, and I wanted to dig into it and talk a little bit about why I think it is, and I also want to hear back from you to see why you think it doesn't sell that well. Now for me, this smells kind of like Super Saturation, but a little more West Coast. It's got a little more snap to it. It's got a little more richness to it. It doesn't have the sweetness. It smells properly dank and stinky, and I like that about it. I like how it smells like a hollowed out stump covered with a crushed grapefruit. It's great. Time for a Sourpuss and peach schnapps tasting. Ooh. That's not a tasting, that's just Monday night.
That's a puking.
That is a puking. That is true. Yours is better than mine. And Chris makes an interesting point about bay leaf in the soup where you don't know it's there unless it's gone. Yeah, I think we would miss the cinnamon if it wasn't there. And yeah, Tyler kind of, you know, nails it on the head in the sense that this is a little more West Coast. But okay, let's take that back a step and say, okay, my best-selling 88, or one of my top 3, is the Wave Pool, which is kind of like Sunshine Rain, a little bit of what I call a no-coast IPA. It's a little bit East Coast, it's a little bit West Coast. It's got influences from both, and that sells very, very well, where Sunshine Rain doesn't. I don't think it's the packaging. I love the packaging. The packaging is great. I love the font. Yeah, stump covered in grapefruit, like, you know, as you do.
For some reason, I always, I don't know what it is, but marketing-wise, like, I never really was able to, like, this always felt like an outlier marketing-wise.
It does feel like an outlier.
Label, you know, compared to, like, what the other things that Cabin does, you know, like I never recognize this beer in the fridge as like a Cabin beer.
And yet it fits with their whole 70s aesthetic and everything. I think it fits in their language, but you're right, it feels like the outlier. It feels like the forgotten son, which is very sad because it's very good.
Yeah, I like it.
I've always said I prefer this to Super Saturation. I'll stand by that to the end of time. Or until I taste it side by side with Super Saturation and I get convinced to the opposite. But no, you're right. It always is kind of the outlier, the forgotten sibling, which is very sad because I really like the beer. It reminds you of Tron. I like that, yeah. Sean just got super into the Sunshine Rain early, grilling some burgers. Like it.
Nice.
And yeah, I think that Craig and Eric can have this right. Like it's you know, arguably their best beer. It has a certain resiny character, but Sourpuss versus Baja Rosa tasting.
Who are these idiots?
No, just never. I'll die first. Please no. I was about 16 when Baja Rosa came out, which means when I was 18, the really bad knockoff Baja Rosas that came in like the white bottles came out. I can't remember what it was called. It was like Tequila Rose or Tequila.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
And yeah, it also had like chocolate chip cookie and mint chocolate chip ice cream flavors. It was just really bad, super aspartame-y. Like you had to be like 18 years old and no older to enjoy it stuff came out. I remember all of that, and I remember, you know, broadly thinking it was bad when I was 18. I can't imagine that I would be any more fond of it 20 years later. Oh, and Baja Rosa was a whole brand. There was Baja Tango, which was their tiger ice cream, orange and tequila flavor. They had Baja Luna, which memory serves was either blackberry or black currant. They had like, and I'm not exaggerating, they had 8 or 10 flavors, all in different colors of stupid bottle with their gold caps and their sun. There was a whole range of terrible, terrible Baja Rosa flavors in their own brand, and then they had like another 4 or 5 brands of knockoffs that were equally bad. Finished with Big Bear beer. Oh. Do they even still make that? You know, when I was actually just a few blocks in here buying the novelty malt liquors for the April 1st beer tasting promo, I actually looked for some of those really bad old school malt liquor brands and didn't see them around. So I don't even know if that still exists.
Some of them are gone for sure, but it's not for good reason.
Low-key upset the malt beer tasting wasn't real. Well, you know, I will. I will.
Not the only one.
You know what? There have been many people who have said that.
Yep.
But I think the crown jewel of what we bought for that night's promotion, we opened the Old English 1800, which was probably the nicest of what we bought.
50th. Why not?
Oh God, it's even. Are you really gonna make? You go first, Aaron. All right, Aaron. Here, it's all for you.
All right, let me finish my good beer first.
Yeah, no. Down the hatch, Aaron. Oh yeah, even the crack cap didn't work properly. The whole bloody thing came off of my hand.
Give it to me.
Oh yeah, all 11.7%.
Here it is.
Look at that lovely champagne-like mousse that immediately goes away and looks completely flat.
Just wait.
Oh,
that's pretty good. It's nice.
No, it's not, because you should see some carbonation in the liquid.
No.
Yes, you should, because like this still shows a little bit of carb. It still shows some bubble. This just looks nightmarish.
Well, that's
Oh
my
God.
nightmare.
Yeah. Well, I'm this far away from joining you, because yeah, it's our 50th anniversary. We're gonna do it, because people want to see it. Woo! And I'm actually morbidly curious, because this looks like, when I bought this, the guy actually warned me this was the worst thing he'd ever tasted. So I'm morbidly curious.
At the liquor store that sold it. That promo was good.
That promo was good. That was fun.
good.
Yeah, I enjoyed shooting it.
Yeah.
Especially since we were
People
just,
believe it.
well, we were just like hanging out, shooting the shit, like
Yeah.
half in the bag, talking about just dumb ideas, and then we decided, you know what, screw it, the camera's still set up, let's just shoot it.
Yeah.
And we just did, and it was great.
Do people like stats?
Do people like stats?
Yeah, we had 3,000 views on it on Instagram.
We had 3,000
2 hour,
people.
Like 250 typical, like standard, like promo.
Okay, explain that, because I don't know how Instagram stats work.
Well, it's fine. It's just like you get views and whatever, and
Mic up and explain it.
yeah, I mic'd, yeah. So anyway, that bloody malt liquor promo was by far the most popular promo we've ever made, and like exceeded you know, our high watermarks for like views on promos by like tenfold. It was insane.
I hate this so much already.
Well, I'm sorry.
It smells like bad banana foam candies.
It's of your creation.
Well, and if you're asking how much we got into before this, nothing, actually. We were too busy setting up cameras and lights and things. We didn't get into anything before. Honestly, we've just been, oh God, this is so bad, right? No, we,
Oh my God.
oh God, this sucks so much.
All right, here it comes.
No.
You got to do one glass.
I have to do a glass?
No spit jar.
Oh my God, how is that bad? Nothing's that, it tastes like the worst watermelon and banana and dumpster in the history of, oh God. And it keeps going. It has a finish.
Yeah. Let's get that label in here.
Oh God. Tasting notes.
Tasting notes.
Imagine the worst restaurant you've ever been to. This is the hottest day of summer. What the dumpster behind that restaurant, like the day before trash pickup happens, smells like. Oh God, I can't even. It's just
God.
too bad. It smells like, it smells actually repulsive. How's it compared to all the things? Less offensive. No, Scotty, count yourselves lucky you are not drinking the same beer. This is not a beer for drinking, it is a beer for laying down and avoiding. It is really bad. I mean, I thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be wretched.
Well, we tried the...
This is somehow worse, like bubblegum.
Yeah. It's sweet. Insanely sweet. And we had the Old English.
Which was
We all
awful.
novelty tried the Old English, and we were complaining that it was sweet, but it was not this goddamn bad.
No, it wasn't at all. No, that was like Good Authority good versus this. No. Okay, rankings for me. Yeah, I'm gonna put Good Authority and the Sunshine Rain up 1, 2, Tainted Love 3. The Part-Time Model 4, the Hammer Pants 5, and you know what? Thank you so much for taking that away. I'm going to put the honey brown 6th. Yeah, thank you very much. I can't do that. I will do a lot of things on camera for laughs, but I can't do that. That's just too much. Yeah, exactly. No, it's the meatloaf situation. I can't do it. All right, yeah. Haven't managed to stop producing. Well, it sells really well, so they're probably not going to. Heather had this 6-5. Nice. 6-5, 2, 3, 1. All right. Lorraine has this is first 6. Oh wow, wisdom. Oh God, no, Chris. If you ever had that, you would hate your life so much. It's so bad. There aren't even words for that. All right. Well, that was actually a really fun night. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aaron, for putting together that blooper reel, because I enjoyed it thoroughly. Yeah, I'm going to watch it again because it is absolutely ridiculous.
We'll put it up.
Yeah?
We'll put up a better version. Like, I'll edit it. I'll finish it.
All right.
And it'll be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got a couple of like fun promos to like play us out on. They're going to come up later.
Oh, do I? I don't think so.
Well,
I think we played them all.
Oh, did we play them all? Fair enough.
We'll play the greatest shits until we just shut it off.
Sure.
There you go. Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to call her there, right there. This was fun. Thank you all for the last year. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing it. This was a bit messy, a bit hilarious. You know what? Screw it. This is what I wanted tonight to be, was to be a bit of a disaster. We completely abandoned technical tasting quite early on. And yeah, it was just a fun celebration. Thank you all for joining us. This wasn't supposed to be super serious. It was just supposed to be fun hanging out. And I think we're going to set a record pretty comfortably for most comments. So, you know what? That was exactly what I wanted it to be.
Nice.
I wanted it to be a conversation. And we all got together and hung out. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Here's to next year. Hey everyone, Kyle with Andrew Hilton, and we made it. 1 year of our Wednesday night beer tastings. Over 52 weeks, we've managed to do 50 beer tastings, and I think that's something worth celebrating. So we're gonna do something just a little tiny bit different for our 1 year anniversary, or episode 50. So we're gonna do 6 beers. It's not gonna cost you any more money. It's still gonna be the same $20 it ever is. We're going to visit some of our old friends and favorites, and we're going to talk about 3 little topics that I want to get into. We're going to talk about the things I learned last year to appreciate subtler, paler, especially lager beers that have a little more subtlety and don't have to be a big 7% IPA. And for that, we're going to go right back.